Hello, gorgeous ones. Look at me, right on time. 6 o'clock. It's a miracle. Huzzah. I hope you're all happy, healthy, and well, and you're surviving if you are in an area that is perhaps inundated by water or some other natural tragedy. Today, I am cooking. I gave a little hint if you were watching my 8 o'clock live this morning. I gave a little hint on I'm cooking. I reckon, you know how I do this every now and then, I just have some sort of miracle dish. I cooked this last night. I am Veronica. It's actually a dress. It's part of my happy, fun, my new fun persona that I'm cultivating with bright colors, bright earrings, and just general funness. But anyway, this dish was like an invention. And you know when they talk about necessity is the mother of invention. So last night I got home from work very late. I was very tired. Hello, Alani, gorgeous girl. And I did not want to cook, but I had nothing in my freezer stash. And because one of my commitments, hello Susan, hello gorgeous Liz, one of my commitments to myself is that I will cook 99% of the time, and the times in which I don't cook is usually planned. So a planned outing or a planned takeaway or something along those lines. So that because if I give myself the kind of excuse of I'm tired, I've had a busy day, well, I can trot that baby out every day of the week. So I just sort of go, you know what, I am tired, but I can cook real food real fast. So I invented this totally awesome dish, which even my husband liked. So I thought I'm just going to cook it again tonight. We're having it 2 nights in a row. It was that good, that quick, that easy. So basically, I'm going to start. So I've got my screens are a little bit, I've got, Facebook over here, Instagram over here. The Instagram screen's a bit flat, so I get a great big view of my hands. Like suddenly they look like gigantic hands. And over here, you don't get to see my head. But you see my mouth, and that's the main thing. So I'm actually going to start with some bacon. So I was there last night and I'm going, oh God, if it was just me, and I know that, husbands can cook, and lots of husbands do, but mine doesn't. It's not his skill set. It's not his wheelhouse. He's a great, really, really good husband. He does lots of the, he did lots of the parenting, lots of the domestics, just not cooking. So consequently, I do all the cooking, and that's fine by me because honestly, I'm not critical of cooking, but I don't want certain food. So, you've changed. You've got all of me now, Melissa. Gorgeous thing. You have trouble finding this each week. If you register, Cheryl, so Cheryl's written in here, she has trouble finding it. If you reply that you're going, you will get notification when I'm live. And it is, I know it's meant to be 6 o'clock, and if I was a perfect person, it would be smack on 6 o'clock each week, but it's not. It's somewhere between 6 and 6:06. But if you register, you should get a notification on your phone that I'm on, and if you don't get the notification, then you check your notifications. First time watcher, another Cheryl. Huzzah, welcome. So what I'm doing is I'm just gonna cook some bacon. So this is bacon I got from my butcher this morning. So I reckon this is actually a whole kilo. I don't need all of that for tonight's dish. And one of my super tricks, it's actually not as easy with this one. This is the end of the bacon, obviously. I'm probably gonna chop this. You can. One of my favorite hacks, hello Leanne, is chopping with scissors, something quick, but actually I've got a super sharp knife now, hooray. And it is actually super quick for me just to chop all of these on one thing. So basically, the ingredients for this, so that's where I was going. I said, I don't want to make bacon and eggs. Like if it was just me, and I didn't have to think about anyone else in the world, I possibly would have just scrambled up a couple of eggs. That would have done me. But I do know that my beloved has scrambled eggs for breakfast quite frequently, and he would have been okay with it, but I just wanted to do something a little different. So I thought, I'm going to get the bacon out. So I saute the bacon, which is what I'm going to do now. Put the pan on. I've got my pan over here. I'll move it into view. So here's the clue. So you've got a clue. The recipe is some bacon and some eggs. That's the first 2 things in it. Actually, it's not the first, it's the first and the third. So I'm just going to fling some bacon into this. And then I've got a bit of cabbage here that I'm going to chop. And because this is the end of the cabbage, I can use the same knife. If I was using the rest of the cabbage, then I probably wouldn't use a dirty meat knife on it. But because this is the end of the cabbage, it's all getting cooked. That's the other thing. If this was fresh cabbage, if I was making a coleslaw, I'd change knives. But it's getting cooked, so it doesn't matter. Same with the board. I would change boards if I was not cooking this. So really, I'm just finely chopping the cabbage. Now I know you're all thinking, oh my God, she's cooking bacon and cabbage. Like, really, that's not really an invention. I know, it's a great dish, but wait, there's more. So I'll just get my bacon happy. So, the summary. So I've got some bacon. I happen to have a bit of coleslaw that was looking a bit shabby. So it's got hardly any carrot in it. And I remember, carrot is not the devil. It's certainly got some higher carbs, but the tiny amount that's in, I'm not too worried about it at all. So I'm actually just going to mix these around a bit. So, you know, a bit of a bowl of, so I could put in there, I reckon, maybe 400 grams of bacon, give or take. I'm making a slightly bigger dish tonight than we did last night because I thought I might have some leftovers for tomorrow at lunchtime. Huzzah! So half a kilo of bacon. I'm actually going to grab a little bit of butter, which I will get a clean knife for. Should have got that ready. So yes, you can see my little dress. I've actually got bare feet on, bare feet in the kitchen. It's hot. It's hot in Melbourne, like it's humid. So humidity is great for a dress like this, and it's really great for getting flat hair, or if you've got curly hair, for frizzy hair. Other than that, there is no benefit to humidity at all. It's good for plants, maybe, and probably frogs. But, you know, I'm sure all of you are humidified out. Oh, aren't you lovely, Michelle? Thank you, thank you. But as I said, this is part of my new 2022, the year of Lucy having fun. So hopefully, you might see a navy hoodie in winter, although I reckon I might treat myself to a new hoodie this year and get some coloured one. I did see this fancy looking checked coloured rainbowy one in RLM colours of, you know, our colours are aqua, lime and, oh Maria, you're lovely too. Aqua, lime and navy are our real life medicine colours, and I would have loved a dress like this with those colours, but no, sadly wasn't invented. So I'm just giving this a bit of a stir, and I'm just going to fling the cabbage in, and what I'm putting in with it is a decent knob of butter. I don't know what that is, maybe 20 grams. A decent knob of butter. Putting the coleslaw in. So you can see it's just all plopped into the pan. Got my cooker over here, which I'll bring forward. I do love having a portable cooker. Still got my crappy pan. I've actually got I know, I've got one of those slightly El Cheapo non-stick pans that works so well on the stove, but it doesn't work on this as an induction cooktop. But it does allow you to lift out any eggs super easy. So, you know, a slab of coleslaw or cabbage, a big knob of butter, 400 grams of cabbage, and I think 400 grams, again, I've just totally lost my brain on the ounces component. I think that's about 12 ounces from memory. So a reasonable whack of meat there. So I'm just going to let that do its trick. Now, what I'm going to do, reuse my bowl, and I'm making, so basically what this recipe is, it's a little bit of a variation on a Japanese pancake. Oh, you love the, oh Barry, you did love the podcast, and I'm so grateful to you for writing a review. So if anyone hasn't read Barry Shipside's review of our latest podcast, go and read it. And I reckon, Barry, there's a job for you in like a podcast critic. So you know David and Margaret, for Australians, they were our film review critics on telly for like 25 years, and they would have this banter. And we have restaurant critics. Barry, there is a job for you as a podcast critic. You give such a lovely summary of it. Now, look what I've done in my haste to get this ready today. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see what's written in the inside of my eggs? Hang on, I'll try and get it under the thing. It's under the line. Anyway, these are hard boiled. So consequently, these are the wrong eggs. It's always good if you're going to boil your eggs that you label them. So I'm just going to grab some non-hard boiled eggs. Back in a minute. Yes, trap for young players. Hard-boiled eggs are no good in this pancakey dish. So I'm just going to crack in. Now again, you can decide. I kind of reckon about 3 eggs a person for this dish. But again, if you're super hungry, or if you're a lot of exercise, oh, you've got your mingle, yay, Cheryl. If you've done a lot of exercise, or if you're fasting, you can have more. It's up to you to decide. So when people often go, well, how much should I eat per meal? It's really about this idea of learning to know yourself, learning to understand your biology, your physiology, working out, if I've had a day where, a bit like today actually, where I sat for most of the day. I did a podcast episode, I was a guest on an episode. I did my tax, did stuff like that. Sat for the majority of the day. I don't eat the same amount of food as my husband, who's been busy at work where he walks all day, and he's also ridden his bike to and from. He will have also had lunch. I didn't have lunch, but I did have a piece of cheese about 3 o'clock. So I'm going to put in 8, and I'm going to put in a splash of cream. Again, you just decide, a bit of a splash. And I'm putting in a bit of herby stuff. You can choose whichever herby stuff you like. I happen to have this guacamole one from Mingle, which is, probably needs to be used up fairly soon. We've had it for a reasonable amount of time. And if I look at the ingredients, again, it's some garlic powder, some onion powder, a bit of sumac, some salt, some capsicum, a bit of marjoram, cumin, black pepper and lime. I think that kind of sounds a bit fancy. So I'm going to fling that in, but you could just put in whatever herbs you like, or you could probably just put in some salt. So I'm just giving this a decent nudge. And I'll just give it a mix. In fact, I don't want that thing to slide on. Does anyone else do that, where you slide a whisk and it just flings in and suddenly you're kind of getting it all out of your hands? I'm just going to give my cabbage a stir. So this is looking pretty good. Steamed, but with some butter through it, so it sort of caramelizes it. I don't want it to burn, because burnt cabbage and burnt bacon is disgusting. So I'm just giving it every now and then a little tip, but you've got to put the lid on. So if you haven't got a saucepan or a pan with the lid, just steal a pan or something else, because you'll definitely need a lid for this dish. For both the cabbage, for both sauteing the cabbage, but also for the egg mixture to cook. And you need to wait to the end, because I have a secret ingredient. It's not that secret, but it makes the dish. You know when you just go, oh my God, I can't believe, and it wouldn't be the same without it. So I would be encouraging you all to think about this ingredient when I get up to it. Just giving this a bit of a stir. It's a bit hard to stir things in a slow dish because I don't want a tsunami to sort of flap it out. Now while this is stirring and I'm talking, I got an interesting question in our 12-week group, which I was going to answer in the 8-week live, but I thought the 8 a.m. live, but I'm going to answer it this evening. What day is it? Hello, Annette, gorgeous woman. So what it is, she was asking about an electrolyte brand BCAA. So BCAA electrolytes, and she sent me a picture. Now BCAA stands for branched chain amino acids. And the thing about this is that it's a 14-gram scoop, and the thing states no calories. So, do you know what that got me thinking? Hello, Marilyn, you're here. Wonderful. Good, good, good. I'm so pleased. So it got me thinking, right? There's clearly not much. So branched chain, so amino acids are just protein. So protein joined together in long streams is protein. So it goes amino acids, branched chain amino acids, dipeptides, that's 2 joined together, polypeptides, giant chains are protein. So this scoop of stuff has no calories. Now we know that protein does have calories. So 1 gram of protein has about 4.5 calories per gram. So if you've got 14 grams of something, some product, and it has no calories, then the amount of protein in it is minimal. So it's advertising itself as branched chain amino acids, great for post-sport recovery, but they're clearly so minimal, they don't even have a caloric value. So I think 2 things about this product. One is it's a bit of bullshit, false advertising, telling you it's all about amino acids, great for post-sport recovery. Second thing was that it's sweetener with sucralose. So sucralose is one of those sweeteners that's in the old scale of sweeteners that is not very good for us. Probably pushes our insulin up. Unlikely, certainly not, you know, a favourite of the low carb world. Quite a chemical process. So my thoughts on that product, if you're watching, I will do a brief debrief tomorrow, is that it's a bit rubbish. So for electrolytes, again, this is when people companies try and be all things to all people. If you want protein after sport, and there is some science behind that, it's to build muscle. So again, you have to be mindful of, because the whole idea is that insulin will push protein into your muscles. Now again, if you've got metabolic disorder, so if you've got high insulin, you don't need extra insulin to be pushing protein into your muscles. You don't need to have a sugary drink, which is what a lot of sports people will tell you, and to push the protein into your muscles. If you don't have high circulating insulin, if you're metabolically flexible, and you know lots of people are, fine. You can have something, and this is my husband's little argument. He will talk about chocolate milk. You get some, the sugar from the milk and the chocolate will put your insulin up. It's got quite a lot of protein in milk when you're having a reasonable amount. Yeah, yay, hurrah for you, good for you. Not so good for the, if you've got metabolic disorder. So it's always important to know know yourself. This is what I keep saying, we need to know ourselves. I have metabolic disorder. If I ate, and again, I don't have the muscle mass to support it all, so I'm different. But let's say anyone here with polycystic ovarian syndrome, we want you to be building muscle, but you don't need to spike your insulin to drive it into your muscles because it's already there. Right, slight rant over. So now what I'm doing, right, is so this is really important. I'm turning the heat down because with my pancakey thing, I don't want the bottom to be all yucky. So I'm just giving a bit of a scrape of any bits of goop on the bottom of this. And I'm looking and thinking, it's not my good pan. If it was my good pan, I wouldn't need any more stuff on the bottom, but I'm just going to fling a bit more butter on the bottom of the pan, and I've turned it right down, and then I'm going to pour this little egg mixture in, and we're going to talk. Then we're going to talk a little bit more, lovelies. So electrolytes, you can certainly buy electrolyte replacements, or you can make your own. You can make your own, and you can use a mixture of salt, so normal salt, sea salt, or pink. I find pink salt, as much as I like the taste of it on food, to drink it in a drink, it's a little bit So I just get sea salt. Sea salt has the benefit of being having iodine. So Himalayan salt, any of those internal salts like the Murray River salt that I often talk about, it doesn't have iodine. So for a lot of us, you know, we can be iodine deficient. So what I'm doing now is just turning the egg around so that it covers the whole of this. I'm going to show you a bit. Yeah. Okay, so the egg has covered. It tastes different to a frittata. This one's probably a bit bigger than yesterday's. Yesterday's was a bit more pancakey, but as I said, I've got a secret ingredient. And then what I'm going to do is, you must put the lid on. If you don't put the lid on it, the middle never cooks and the bottom gets all tough. So I'm just putting it on low. Hang on, I'm just going to reach forward to press the Instagram button, which has decided to say that the battery's low. Just give me a second, lovelies. There we go. Pressing. Right. Sorry about that. One day you'll see me and I'll have my film crew. So electrolytes. Look, I use, and as I said, I don't do a lot of activity that causes me to sweat a lot. If you're very active, like Melissa or like Alani, you will be needing electrolytes, definitely, because they're runners and they run in you know, every weather. They'll run in humidity, they'll run in a cold, they're just runners. But for the majority of us, if you are just going about your day to day and you're just doing some standard walking and you're not sweating profusely, then you should be able to get enough electrolytes with your food, with salt on your food. And you can use the mixture of, as I said, that table salt or the light salt. Even the light salt, I'm going to tell you, I don't like the taste of it that much. But I get my potassium from avocados, which of course currently, they're like a dime a dozen. They're so easy. So avocados are full of potassium. Everyone knows, you know, bananas have done such a great job marketing themselves as being full of potassium, but you can get it all from avocados. And of course, eggs have lots and lots of nutrients in them. An egg has 7 grams of protein. So one egg, 7 grams of protein, compared to that 14-gram scoop of fresh air, which has minute amounts of amino acids, not enough to even become a calorie. So there we go, that's kind of what I'm saying. But if you wanted to have an electrolyte drink, for a reason you had a very craving for a milkshake several weeks ago, frustrating. Frustrating or just interesting, Cheryl? Again, we tie emotions to things. It's normal for your brain to offer you things. Every now and then mine will say, And particularly if it's a situation that might trigger a childhood memory or something nice, it'll go, oh, wouldn't mind an ice cream. And I just talk to it and say, well, you know, it's a bit like a waiter. It's going to offer you, so madam, would you like some ice cream? No, thank you, I don't need ice cream. So your brain might offer it, doesn't mean you have to have it. Okay, you don't need to be cross with it for even offering you. If that's what we're hoping for, then that's impossible. So recognizing that thoughts come in, and that's what a craving is, a thought. It'll come in and you can let it go. A lot of people will try and bat it off like a annoying fly, and you spend so much energy trying to get rid of it that you spend all your focus on this craving. Go away, ice cream. I don't want to think about you. Stop, milkshake. I'm sick of you. Just go away. Stop bothering me. Whereas if you actually can imagine that it's just floating past you, it comes in and it comes out, and you don't have to engage with it at all. It's very, very normal. Now, just having a look at this. It's taking a bit longer to cook, probably because I've been yakking. Yesterday it was all done in 20 minutes. But, so, you know when you see a Japanese pancake dish, it's called onamonokoti or something. It's got some giant name. And then they do the swizzle. They'll do swizzle of some sauce on it. So they'll swizzle their mayonnaise, enter the mayonnaise. So I'm going to swizzle the mayonnaise. And then this little baby, this is like the gift that keeps giving. It's the barbecue tomato sauce, which I don't like by itself. It's a bit something. But I think I've told you, I've used it in a pulled beef recipe for sliders. You know, sliders for everyone else, slidelesses for me. And drizzled onto this Japanese style pancake. Magnificent. So yes, thank you, Clara, good. Yes, okonomiyaki, possibly poorly pronounced. But Clara on Facebook has written the word. And it is normally a pancake, Japanese style omelette-y thing with flour. So maybe some spring onions. You could certainly put some spring onions in this if you had any flying around. And it will often have some, like, you know, Japanese sometimes have like a sweet teriyaki sauce or something like that on it. You don't need that. You got this. So for people that can't see this, or if it's back to front, it's just the mingle sauce. Now, the mingle sauces, they're quite hard to find. Partly, I think, I kind of wonder if it might be the packaging. Like they sort of don't look like sauce. If you're looking, you're often looking for a bottle, whereas this is a little pouch like yogurt. But it's super convenient. And I'm totally in love with this, having originally, my original score was a bit meh, and now I've got 2 great dishes for it. So again, with this dish, I'm just having a little look. What we don't want to happen is for it to burn on the bottom. It won't, because I've got it down low, and I've got the lid on it so that it will steam on the top. It might puff up a bit like sometimes frittatas do. Oh, Sandra told me Woolies have this on sale this week. Seriously, peeps. I feel like Molly Meldrum, do yourself a favour. But I'll go and get some more. I've been trying to find the chili one. The chili one I can't find in my supermarket, so I might have to order it. But you know, again, I love ordering things online. Good to take camping too, light and doesn't break. Absolutely correct, Clara. So there you go. And the tomato sauce, I use that one quite a lot on, you know, my fancy or not so fancy burgers. So I'm having a little look here. Good. All right. The other thing, I'm just moving it over a bit, is like a lot of egg dishes, you don't have to cook them till they're completely cooked, because they continue to cook after they're off the stove, just the heat of the pan. And when you cook them till they're like, all right, I don't want a scrap of sort of wobbly egg, then the quiche or the frittata or this pancakey thing, they get a bit tough. So I would be looking when it's almost cooked, you take it off the pan, leave the lid on, and then you do your drizzle. So that's what I'm watching it for. Good. Nearly done. The other thing I'm quite proud of myself with this dish, it's probably one of the few dishes that I don't have cheese. Good dish for Pancake Tuesday. Is today Pancake Tuesday? Marie, possibly is. How timely. I had no idea. Yeah, so there we go. Shrove Tuesday. Who knew that you could do healthy, low carb, high protein, lots of goodness pancakes and still participate in all things shroveness. Wonderful. My loves, it's nearly 6:30. This thing's nearly done. I will certainly show you a picture. The recipe will be up on our blog in the morning, and if you are you signed up to our newsletter? If you haven't signed up to the newsletter, then every week we give you a link to the recipe that I've cooked. You get a link to the podcast if you haven't had a chance to listen to it. Often we've got a blog in there, and then just a few little musings from Mary and I. Mary's going super well. She's like 26 weeks pregnant and just looking radiant past all that, that hard stuff that you have when you're first pregnant. So I'm really just babbling because I really want to just show you the end of it and see what it looks like. And it's just not quite there. It's nearly cooked. Just one little corner. We'll take the rest off, and then it'll be good. Lovelies, have the most wonderful evening. I'll put a photo of this up in the Facebook group. Are you in our group? I know this is the page, but I'm going to put it in the group, which is Low Carb Real Food. I'd love you to have a try of it and let us know what you think later on in the week. Bye, darlings.